Hello, welcome to Unit 11 in the app LOOC. Today we're going to be looking at GPS-based apps and maybe a little bit more about marketing and demographics. I might download another sample app and have you guys check that out, and we'll just generally be looking at more to do with Xamarin. So the first thing we're going to do is the Maps and Locations demo, which is available from Google Play Services. Google Play Services is Google's API for various services they have, including Maps services. So first thing you need to do to get this demo working is power up Xamarin, and then go to Tools, Android SDK Manager, and from here we will be downloading the Google Play Services, which I don't have downloaded on this computer. I have this whole thing working on a different computer, but I'm going to try to get working on this one as well. And I'm going to click on Google Play Services and install that. So this is giving me revision 16 of Google Play Services, which is the one that I want. That's the one that I've tested this to work with at least, so we should be good. Alright, and now that is installed. So we should be good to go. The next thing I got to do is find where it put the stuff. Actually, it turns out I had a little bit of difficulty finding the Google Play Services 16 sample files. So what I'm going to have you do is just download that directly from Desire to Learn from our course webpage, D2L. So hold on a moment and I will show you where that is. Okay, where you want to go for that is Unit 11, Google Play Services samples needed for video 10.1. And then, yeah, so sorry if you couldn't hear me there. It's Unit 11, Google Play Services samples. And then you'll be able to click download right here. And it's downloading that. So once you've got that downloaded, I would suggest putting it in your Xamarin directory. Mine is Documents Xamarin, and then I put Google Play Services 16.0 here. And then the project folder file is inside of Samples, and then you go to Maps and Location Demo, which is what I've got right here. So this location demo is basically going to give us a map that it's going to show on the screen. Kind of a nice little feature of it will be we'll extend this so that it shows a map of our actual location. But for now it'll just be a map of, I think it's Africa that it brings up first. And that's the one you want to go ahead and click that open. And I will show you an example of what that looks like once we're all done. But what should happen is it will come up with Simple Map Demo, which is going to be the default project that'll be set, and it'll bring up your manifest file. Your manifest file is everything that all the required permissions that are needed for the Android app, as well as what the package name is, what the version number is, the version name, all that kind of stuff. So next I'm going to show you what this looks like when it's fully running and working. In order to do that, I need to do a couple things to it. You will need to do a couple things as well. It won't work just off the shelf for you because the key files are not going to be correct. I will show you how to fix those. One thing you'll need to do as well is to make sure that the program called Key Tool is in your path. For example, when I go up to my start bar here and I run PowerShell, I can type in Key Tool and I actually get something. You're going to need that as well. The way to do that is to make sure that your JDK is in the correct path, which I would recommend installing the program Everything in order to find out where your key tool actually is, because you most likely do have one. It's just a matter of putting in the path. Everything by Void Tools is a very nice program. It's a search engine that by far exceeds the capabilities of the default Windows search utility. You can just download it here at voidtools.com/download. Install that, and you will get this nice little window that says everything at the top of it. Then you can type in keytool, and sure enough, keytool comes up. I added this path here. You don't want to add the JRE path, you want to add the JDK path. I happen to be still running under 1.6, which is pretty old, but Xamarin plays really nicely with 1.6. 1.7 works as well. You want to just click Properties on this and select the location here. And then you go to Computer, right click on this, go to Properties, go to Advanced System Settings, Environment Variables, down here to Path. You see that mine was already added. Basically you can go to Edit and you can add it at the end or at the beginning, whatever you feel like doing. Make sure these are separated by semicolons. For example, there's a semicolon right before this Tortoise SVN addition, so you would put a semicolon here and then you would paste in your bin path and click OK. You will need to close your PowerShell and reopen it before it actually works. So the next thing we need to do is actually, so what I'm alluding to here is that you guys need to create new key stores for your app to work. For example, you have downloaded, without knowing it, when you installed the Google Play Services samples folder, you downloaded 5 key store files. These are all actually identical, but these need to be generated by you in order for the Google Maps API to work. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to change directory all the way over to the Android SDK Platform Tools directory. In order to do that, you just click on here. Let's go back to the PowerShell once. Just go back, CD Android SDK, CD Platform Tools. CD stands for Change Directory, by the way. LS stands for List. Another way you could do it is dir, and that shows you the contents of that directory. So in order to generate this key store, we type in keytool minus genkey minus v minus key store. I gave myself some notes here, and then maps.keystore, and it'll enter oops, I didn't do that right. You want to enter in the password as well, so it should be keystore keytool-genkey. I'm going to put this down here because this is the path we need. Keytool space dash genkey space dash v space dash keystore space maps.keystore dash alias Android debug key dash store pass. This is just a key store for debugging, basically. Droid is going to be the store password. Key algorithm is going to be RSA. Validity is going to be for 14400. And for this you can just hit enter. And then eventually you type in yes here, and that should generate a key store. And now if we do an ls, we see maps.keystore. that is the key store you're going to want to place in place of all of my key store files that I gave to you. So we take that generated file and put it in a bunch of different places where you saw the everything was finding. If you take a look at key store, specifically maps.keystore, you'll see that it occurs now in platform tools, which is the one that I want. So I'm going to hit copy, and I want to place that in each of these directories. So I'm going to do explore path, paste that here, and I do want this to overwrite. Explore path, right click, paste this here, and I do run it to overwrite. Explore path, paste here, overwrite. I'm just basically pasting it in each location where maps.keystore exists, and I'll explain this in a second. Okay, so now I've got it, and you can tell the date modified time should be updated to the correct time now. If you're doing any of these explore paths, it should be like, yeah, 9:58 in each of these. So everything doesn't actually show you the updated time, unfortunately, because this is like a cache basically. But in any case, I think if you hit refresh, yeah, now it updates it. I just hit F5 to refresh. The next thing to tell you about is this maps.keystore appearing 5 times isn't technically needed. Only one of these is going to be used. I'm not sure actually which directory it needs to be in, whether it's the root directory of maps locations demos, the simple map directory, the debug directory for bin. My guess, my most likely bet, is that it has to be in bin/debug, because that's eventually where the binaries are spit out for debug mode. But just to be safe, I put in these 4 extra spots. I was having a heck of a time getting this demo to work, and I eventually did get it to work. I put in all 5 of these locations. I will be giving 10 extra credit points on top of the 100 that's possible for the next project, if you can successfully figure out which one of these locations maps.keystore should be in. I lack the time myself to figure it out. It'll probably take some experimentation, take a couple hours to figure it out. But if you figure that out, I'll give you some extra credit for it. I have a good idea of what it is, but an experimentation might be a good learning experience for you guys to kind of go back and forth with this key store stuff. So you have that opportunity if you want to take it. Anyway, that's where all the key stores are, and that is that. The next thing you need to do is type in key tool into your, PowerShell. You type in key tool -v-list-keystore maps.keystore. You're going to need, once you do that, it's going to ask your password. We entered in Android as a password for this. We're going to need this SHA1 string. So you can take this and select it, right click once, and that will copy it. It won't tell you that it was copied, but it was actually copied. We're going to take that and we're going to register it with Google. To register with Google, we go to console.developers.google.com/project. And you need a Gmail account to get this to work, or an account that is run by Google. So if you have a different domain email address, but yet you check your email through Google, you can probably do it with this. I actually used my bgeisler@gmail account for this. The first thing you're going to want to do is create a project. You can see I've already got one. Maps demo. It's pretty simple. This creating a project, it'll just ask you for a project ID and what your project name is. You can just call it Maps Demo. That's what I did. And then you go into your project and you go into APIs and auths. In this section, you want to turn on a bunch of services. You want to turn on Google Maps Android API v2, Maps Coordinates API, Google Maps Embed API, Engine API, Geolocation API, JavaScript API v3, Google Maps SDK for iOS, Google Maps Track API, and Translate API. So once you've got all those on, you're good to go. And that's just under APIs and auths API. The next thing you want to do is go to Credentials. Credentials is where you're going to put that SHA1 key that I showed you before. So to use this, what you do is you say create new key, and you say Android key. And we already did this key tool list v key store my key store, and so we've got that and we've got it pasted in. So we're just going to right click and paste. Now you have to put a semicolon after this, and the semicolon after the semicolon should be the full name of the project. And I showed you that a second ago, but I'll show you it again. You can find that in the Android manifest. So right here is where it resides. You can do Control C on that. Copy that back. And there we go. So I just pasted in. This one you probably haven't changed. This would be the com.xamarin.docs.android.maps and location demo 2. Then I hit create. And now I should see that that new one has been created. Indeed, it has. On May 13th, been created at 8:06 p.m. That's the West Coast time. And I've got my API key. This is the key that I need to put into the application finally. So I take that key and I'm going to paste it into the application in some certain key spots, and I'll show you where. The first place we're going to put it is in the csproj file. csproj, I'm going to use Sublime to edit this. Unfortunately, it's actually, hold on, it's open here. I suppose that's a good enough place to copy it. Before I wasn't having good luck editing things in here, so I was using Sublime. I guess this is fine. You can either open it up in, the problem is if you open it up in Xamarin, it will try to open your project up over itself, so I recommend opening it in something like Sublime or another text editor. Sublime is a very nice and easy to use text editor, and you can get that by going to Sublime. Sublime Text right here. SublimeText.com, and you can just download it. It's free. It'll warn you once in a while to buy it, but you can basically use it forever for free. There's no time limit on it or anything. And I think I'm using the beta version. I think I'm in Sublime Text 3. Although I'm in Sublime Text 2. Sublime Text 2 is the current stable version. They just started beta testing 3. So anyway, I'm in Sublime Text. I'm going to go to Open File, and I want to find my CS project file for this particular project. There's some Unity stuff I was just happened to be playing with. That's not what I want. I want to go to Documents, Xamarin, Google Play Services, Samples, Maps and Location Demo, Simple Map Demo. That's the one I care about. Simple Map Demo CS Proj, and this is what I'm going to get. Now it's going to look like just a bunch of white stuff here, white text. You can change that to XML down here. XML, and that looks a little bit prettier. What you want to find, I've already added this for you. I've added a property group for you, which basically goes to the key store. The maps.keystore is correct. Just make sure this is present in your CS proj file, it looks like, in my case, it has everything kept the same. The store password is Android, the key alias is Android debug key, and the key password is Android. So I think that's pretty much what I entered in for everything. Let's make sure of that. Yep, Android debug key, store pass Android. Looks like that's basically correct. So that section we don't really have to do anything with, so that's great. Next we want to put that in the manifest file that I mentioned earlier. This is where we actually need to make sure that it's present in the source. The API key is going to be down here. You're going to see com.google.android.maps.v2.api key. Took me a while to figure out exactly what that needed to be, but I eventually figured it out, and now you'll benefit from that. And you paste in the new API key there. So mine was AIZA blah blah blah, ending with 04EU. The previous one you're going to see is ending with C4. Once you paste over it, you should see your own API key, not mine. Mine will not work for you. You have to use your own. And once you've got that, you should be able to build. The next thing we're going to need to do is create an emulator. And I've got some hints on the best emulator to use for this particular project. So let's just try to build first. So I did a quick clean, build clean all, and now I'm going to do a build all. And let's see how this goes down. So it's building location demo. In debug mode, that's what we want. And again, this is just a very simple, you can see it just does a very simple view on the demo activity that shows some markers, Maui, actually some markers in Maui, and we've got a main activity here that launches up something in Africa, I think it is, or something. Or actually, no, the main activity gives us their buttons for clicking on. And then got a sample map activity that this is the one that gives us someplace in Africa, I think it is. We'll be changing all of this in the next video so that we can zoom in on our location. Anyway, I'm building here. You can see simple map demo, debug, building. This should go off without a hitch, and once it does, then we'll get into the creation of an emulator to use for this. I actually have some cheat sheets here for myself that I've been following. The one we're going to want is actually Nexus 7 with Intel Atom x86. Can probably be whatever you want there, but I'm just using that to be safe. It shouldn't be much of a big deal. Okay, I have one warning which I haven't seen before. Hides inherited member. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that for now. We'll just see how that works with that warning existing. I think this is a new warning that just came up with the current upgrade of Xamarin. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and create an emulator for this. Okay, so I'm just going to follow along the notes I've made for myself here. This right here is the target that we want, and we should be using API 19 apparently. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the emulator manager, pop that up, device definitions, Nexus 7 is the one that, the 7.02 inch one, that should work. 1200 by 1900, it's XHDPI. I don't know why I'm having trouble finding this. Here we go. I must have made a typo. 7.0 inch, 1200 by 900, 1900 large XDPI. I'm going to create an AVD for this. I'm going to say Google APIs x86. Google APIs x86 API level 19. That's the one that I know that works. And then that's going to give you Intel Atom x86 here, which is what you want. For skin, I chose QVGA. I think that doesn't really matter either. For SD card size, I put 256. You should be able to put whatever you want there. Although I have heard reports about if you put too big of a size on the SD cards, it'll give you issues. We're going to hit OK, and that should create our AVD. There we go. And now we wait for a long time for it to start up. But basically, we've got our AVD for Nexus 7 by Google. That's the Google Maps one that I want. And I hit Start. And let's see if this thing actually loads anytime soon. I will be back with you as soon as it loads, and we will give this a shot. Okay, it powered up. That was actually not too bad. I guess if you've got a faster computer, it definitely goes to help with speeds here. I had tried it on my old computer from like 2010 earlier, and it took me about 25 minutes to get the emulator up and running. This one took about 5 minutes on this Alienware, so that's pretty good. We will go ahead and give this a shot then. This is what you want to see. You want to see something similar to this on your screen, and then you're ready to try running the Maps program. So you're going to go to Start without debugging, and then you select the device that you want. That's the device we want, and we're going to do our standard detecting installed packages, deploying, all that kind of stuff. And once it says deployed complete, you can go ahead and go back to your emulator, and you should see Simple Maps Demo running here. You can click on Basic Demo. We should see a map of Africa. Yes, we do. So yay, that means it worked. If you see an empty grid here, that means that it didn't work for you. That means that at some step you missed a step. You've got the wrong API key, for example. You might be seeing some error messages here that are nonsensical. Check your application output, post things on the forums, post things on the discussion boards. We'll try to help you out. Anyway, you should see a map of Africa there. That's the map fragment in the AXML. Here's a map fragment in some markers demo that they made, where they've got a bunch of markers scattered throughout the world. Kind of go here and see. For example, now I'm on South Pole for some reason. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, this stuff is sort of like partially coded, so it's not really the best or anything. But anyway, that is working there. Here's a maps with markers demo as well. And we can zoom in on the location, zoom out. So there we go. It is working, and everything is good with the world. In just under 25 minutes, we've got a simple map thing working. This is a fairly powerful package that you can use for anything you need. And you know, as far as map type stuff goes, and that should be fun to do in the next session. We will talk about how to customize this, how to change map locations and all that kind of thing. And then I think for the third video we'll be talking about yet another Xamarin application. So that is enough for now. Thanks, and see you soon.